Brooke watched the screen as dozens of starships blossomed orange and red before falling silently away. It reminded her of raindrops on a pond, random, chaotic, and strangely peaceful. She watched until the last rose bloomed and faded to black. "And that's it," Herc said. 63 cruisers lost with all hands, the bulk of our fleet. Brooke sat back in her chair and looked up at him. "A sad story," she said. "Yes, quite," Herc replied. "I think you know what comes next." "The war crimes?" Brooke asked. Well, I suppose," Herc said. "Don't look so shocked, Minister," Brooke said. "You're only here for my expertise. There's no way you'd show me a recording like this unless you wanted something from me." She raised her hands, making the heavy shackles clang and rattle as she did so. "After all, it's not like we travel in the same circles. One of us cavorts with liars, cheats, swindlers, and thugs, and I'm in prison." She smiled at her own joke. "We have 4 heavy cruisers and 9 destroyers left," Herc said. "The hooded armada approaches my homeworld even now. There is no negotiating with them, and we have lost our battle. So you come to me." "So I come to you," Herc said. "I would like your help." "Ah," Brooke said. "Is that what we call it now? Help? As I recall, there were some harsh words at my trial from some of your people. Was it one of you that said my entire species should be eradicated solely for being capable of producing me? Or were your people the ones that said allowing any who share my genome to continue breathing was an insult to the gods? Or maybe, just maybe, your people were one of the ones that sat there and did nothing? I have not come here to retry your case, human," Herc said. "I have disgraced myself by even entering this room. But I would do this and more to save my people." "Funny you should say that," Brooke said. "In what way?" "All those terrible things I did? I did them to save my people," Brooke said. "Your people were under no threat." "Weren't we?" Brooke asked. "Second-class citizens throughout the galaxy, not even allowed in the legislature. Planets in our home system being snapped up faster than we could ever respond. Do you know that the population of Mars, our neighbor planet, is only 7% human? Oh, we were under threat, Minister. Maybe not of guns, but of being slowly wiped out. I defended my home." "Those settlers brought wealth and opportunity with them," Herc said. "Your people would have grown along with them. In time, you would have taken your place among the leading civilizations. Now, instead, you have condemned your people to quarantine and isolation with your terrorism." "What's in it for me?" "What?" "You want my help fighting this armada," Brooke said. "What's in it for me?" Herc paused a moment as he remembers why he was here. "To repay your debt, at least a portion of it," he said. "Not interested," Brooke said. "Fine," Herc replied. "What do you want? I can tell you there's no way I can free you from this prison. Your crimes were too notorious." "No, I know you don't have that kind of pull, Minister," Brooke said. "Do remember this, though. The leading civilizations, as you call them, would let your world burn before releasing me. But that's a discussion for another time. No, I'm not asking for anything for myself." "What then?" "I want your government to normalize relations with Earth," Brooke said. "Open trade, ambassadors, cultural and technical exchanges, the whole bit." "Impossible. The rest of the galaxy would shun us for it," Herc said. "Let me ask you, what do you prefer, a world shunned or a world burnt? Because those are your options." Herc started. He felt the words catch in his throat. The price was high, but so was the benefit. The monster in front of him, this human who had wreaked so much havoc, had given him only one path to choose. "Think of it this way," Brooke said. "You only pay if I succeed. If I fail, well, you won't have a world to go back to, And I'm not worried you'll stiff me on the bill. I might be in prison, but I'm not powerless. I'll have to contact my government, Herc said. Did they not send you here with authority to negotiate? They did, but... Then either take the deal or refuse it, Brooks said. You only want to bring someone else into this because you're scared. You want someone else to blame, or at least someone to share the blame with. The offer is only valid for a couple of minutes and expires if you walk out the door. You would let my world be destroyed? If the hooded armada had come to me first, I would help them do it, Brooks said. How many of your people have I killed already? What sort of world could spawn a beast like you? Herc said. The kind that protects its own, Brooks said. The clock's ticking, Minister. You'll betray us and lead us into our destruction, Herc said. Don't think that idea didn't cross my mind, Brooks said. But I do keep my word. Besides, you normalizing relations helps Earth, so it's in my best interest to keep your people alive and at least somewhat prosperous. Herc felt his stomach's roil and an involuntary twitch start in his neck. Hadn't his first wife said this was a bad idea? Hadn't the senator actually laughed when he proposed this? Hadn't he watched as their fleet burned in space, convincing him that this must be done no matter the cost? You have a deal, Herc said. Excellent, Brooks said. Now I need you to bring one of your destroyers here. Bring a couple 100 kilos of anti-helium as well. A couple 100 kilos? That's more than half the fleet's annual consumption. Yes, but it's not like you need it anymore, do you? Brooks said. She stared at Herc with sparkling eyes and a brilliant smile.